Hey everyone, video 1. In this video, we need a place to store our code, so I will be creating the interface database that I talked about, the sole connection to the outside world, and where we will store all of our code. And while doing that, I'll be creating a database creator because, we're going to need to create over 60 databases. So, hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm in my Trello board, and I think for this episode, I will be able to at least create the procedure to create a single database, and definitely be able to create the main database, possibly not the history, archive, and snapshot. So I'm just going to move those to doing, and let's do it. All right, so I use SQL Complete, which is a snippet manager, and a bunch of other stuff, which you'll see over the series. All of our code is going to follow a specific format where we have our declare variables, and then we initialize them, and then we begin our actual code. So this kind of standard operating procedures for development. I need a database name and a database type name for my incoming, so I place them outside of my declare variables. I need a file path, and I'll need two SQL script holders for creating the database. One I call a base, which is a tokenized script, and the other one I call execute, which is the thing that I will execute. So basically, I'll just replace base into the variable execute and then execute that variable. If you don't know how I'm writing on two lines, it's just holding Alt and Shift. It's called column select, and it's extremely helpful. But I need to declare my file path, so I'm just going to grab that file path so SQL knows where to store the variables. And I'm going to use SQL Complete's basic create database script and tokenize it for myself. Let's see, if the database or DB, and then my tokens are database name. All my tokens begin and end with like less than and greater than signs. It just makes it easier, so I'm not like replacing something that I don't want to replace. So if this database doesn't exist, and my databases begin with, actually all my objects begin with some sort of Hungarian type notation where databases will begin with DB. And yeah, so if it doesn't exist, I'm just going to remove this stuff and our begin and end, and then I'm going to use the rest of the code to basically create the database. Just need to uncomment this and make some changes. So our files are going to begin with FS, like our databases begin with DB. So I'll just do that real quick. Max size, I'm going to put it at 2 gig. I do have, I think, 1 or 2 terabyte right now, but I just want to put a max on it so I can monitor it. For file growth, I never like to use percentages because it can bloat really fast, so I just want to control it with 100. I'm going to make sure that all my file names, have proper names, so I'll be using log and default for the two, primary files that we have. Let's see. I think that looks good, so just format this. And yeah, okay, so that looks good. To tokenize my script, I basically just replace the single quotes with double quotes, because I'll wrap the whole thing in a quote. And I believe, I need to add my file path so it knows where to store this information. And I'll just copy that and paste it down here. And now I think I can just wrap this whole thing in quotes. Let's see. So this will be what my base script is, and that actually looks good. So looks like it's actually going to compile at least. No glaring errors. Name, size, everything looks good. Okay, so for the actual code itself, I kind of want to do a check for the incoming variables, where if both of these are not empty or null, then we'll actually create it just as some sort of control. We'll come in here and add error messages, error handling, and security a lot later. It's just, you know, just like we have to use env-archive, this is what we have to do now. So quick is null check on the database name and database type name before we can replace. Let's see, replace base script. So I'm gonna select the execute script with the replace of the base script, and I have 1, 2, I think I just have 2. So replace base, replace database name with @database name, and replace database type name, database type name with @database type name. All right. And then basically just need to execute the script. So I'm going to use sp execute instead of exec, open close parentheses. I'll use sp execute for everything, just as a consistent way. I can give it parameters, I can expect an output, yada, yada, yada. So let's see, well, tested it out, no errors, that's good. Now let's actually create our interface database so we can store this code. So database name will be interface, and the type of database that we are creating will be the main version. And let me refresh. And there we go. First database down, only 60 more to go. Let me check the files. Yep. Awesome, everything looks good. So let's go ahead and highlight all of this and actually create a procedure from it. Let's remove this. Paste our code. Then I'll grab the incoming variables that I put on the outside of the declare area, and we'll paste it up here. Just get it set up. Once again, column select, just hold down Alt and Shift. Actually, I don't even think you need Shift most of the time, but unless you're using arrow keys. And our naming. So what I like to do with naming is everything's going to be under DBO. Our prefix will be PRC for procedure. And then I like to go most like general to specific. So I have a system procedure that deals with objects. The specific object is database, and this will create a single database. This helps not only group things together in the procedures, but it follows the patterns that we'll be following, the 4 degree of classification patterns. So I'm just gonna clean up and save. So there we go. That is our first procedure. Under 10 minutes, I think. And yeah. YouTube uses likes to recommend videos to other people. So like this video if you'd like to share it, and subscribe to support me. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.